Hi everyone, welcome to CPA Slide Solutions presentation on last minute marketing ideas for tax season. This is your 2-minute warning. We're going to go ahead and get started at the top of the hour, but for now, you have a couple of minutes to grab another cup of coffee or a pen and paper if you'd like to take notes. We'll be starting shortly. Thank you. Again, my name is Fanny Barrientos, and I'd like to welcome you to last minute marketing ideas for tax season. All right, so let's see. We're going to be covering a few things. First off, I want to go over some general marketing advice before we dive into some of the tactics that you could implement right now for tax season. Then I'm going to go ahead and start explaining some tactics you can apply for your website and search marketing, reviews, and social media. So with general marketing, I would like to get started with this question that was submitted in some of the forms that were passed out to you guys for people to submit questions. The first one that we got the most was, how do you get started? And the answer is actually pretty simple. All you really have to do is build a plan. Now, this plan for marketing doesn't have to be very extensive, especially right now. It's just more, this is more to just kind of help you identify a thought process to help you bring a marketing plan into fruition. So think of this as like considerations and stages that you would have to follow through in order to really understand what channel you want to use right now for marketing during tax season and which tactics you want to execute. And if you need a little additional help deciding, we have included this infographic here. Down here. If you click here when you receive the presentation, you can look at considerations for you when marketing your firm. It's just an easy to see layout. Okay, the next part is, how can I track my marketing efforts? How can I track which marketing efforts are bringing in clients? And this really just depends on tracking. The reason I'm bringing tracking up now is because, you don't want to just dive into a marketing plan without knowing what you got out of it, right? You want to know your return on investment. So be cognizant of how you are tracking from the get-go. Ways that you can track your marketing is to add a call tracking number to your website or to a landing page specifically. That is a web page that is used specifically for advertising and not necessarily search engine optimization. That's probably best practice there. And then the other thing too is to either train yourself or staff, if you have any staff, to ask clients where they came from. It's a very simple question and it helps you understand where your marketing efforts are working. The other thing too is to look at your website analytics. You can implement Google Analytics onto your website. It's absolutely free, and it'll help you understand where your traffic is coming from. It'll tell you how much organic traffic is coming from Google, how much paid search traffic you're getting if you're running pay-per-click. It would also tell you social media. It would tell you how many users you have on your site. It's just a lot of data to help you understand how your website is performing. Or in your marketing in general. And then also ask your online marketing provider. If you already have an online marketing provider, then they should have these reports available for you. And so a lot of these reports are going to be contained in Google Analytics. So if you don't have a provider, then your best bet is to look in Google Analytics. Okay, so the big question is, which marketing channel should I focus on during tax season? And it's a fair question. There's a lot of different things that you could do to market. So I just wanted to break out all the different options here. This is everything that you could possibly choose from for marketing, but the squares here that you see highlighted are probably going to be the quickest and the channels that you would want to prioritize during tax season. And that's going to be search engine advertising, in other words, AdWords or Bing ads, online review sites, that means collecting reviews, anything on your website, just making sure that your website is up to date, all information is current, and then possibly focusing on social media as well. Okay, so let's talk about your website and search marketing. And this is one of the questions that I that we get a lot, and which is how can I quickly drive more traffic to our website? So as you guys know, there are two ways that there's two channels that really feed into your website, and it's going to feed into the majority of traffic to your website, and that's going to be paid search if you happen to use it, and search engine optimization or organic traffic. Um, of the two, one is quicker than the other. So the two main ways that you can improve visibility to your website on search engines is really to use Google AdWords. That's because it's the quickest option when trying to improve search engine visibility, and you can improve it even within a few days because you are paying to be in that top position on search engine results pages. It's also it's a hyper targeted channel, which allows you to choose which keywords you want to show for, and by extension, the type of client that you are looking for. So I had a lot of questions come in asking me, how do I get better clients, right? This is one way that you could find higher quality clients, right? And the way that you do that is by targeting keywords that reflect services that are more profitable to you. So, I mean, tax returns right now, that's probably a big deal, but, uh, filing taxes for small business owners is probably going to be more profitable than your, college student. So if you can find the right keywords to target those, so like, small business tax preparation or tax preparation for business owners or those types of keywords, if you bid on those type, the client that it is attracting is using that type of keyword, and therefore you can make the assumption that they are the business owner that's looking for help. So that's really how you refine the type of client that you are looking for. If you don't have a big budget for PPC, in terms of search engine visibility, your next best bet is going to be to claim your business listing on Google Maps, also known as Google My Business, and Yelp. The reason these two directories are important is because they are typically shown at the top of search results. So this map that you see here is what we call the snack pack. So when you have a clean listing on Google Maps and all of your information is current and up to date, your listing is more likely to show here, which is at the very top of search pages. Let's see, we have a question. I see you, Steve. What is PPC? Okay, so if you guys are not familiar with PPC, that is an acronym for pay-per-click. Basically, it's describing the model for advertising. So I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. It's going to make a lot more sense if I pull up in search results. So let's just put accountants in, I don't know, let's say Phoenix. Okay. Accountants. Or you know what? Tax accountants, Phoenix. Let's try that one. Okay. This is a really good example. So with pay-per-click advertising, and you may recognize it as AdWords, that is what you see here. These 4 search results here are going to be driven by pay-per-click advertising. So you can see these are going to be at the very first results that you see on a search engine results page. And then under it is the snack pack that I told you about. So when you claim your Google My Business listing, you clean it up and it matches all of the information, the same name, address, and phone number that's on your website. It's more likely to show here. The reason why I suggested Yelp as a directory is because what Google has started to do for a while now is they'll pull up the best 10 accountants in whatever city you're located in and show you the results from Yelp. So it'll give a link through to Yelp. So if you can appear high on Yelp, you'll most likely appear in this search listing here. Okay. Oh, and I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on like how to get into the snack pack a little bit later. Okay, so benefits to PPC and how it works. Benefits to pay-per-click advertising is you only pay when someone clicks your ads. Some more traditional methods are you pay by impression, so every time someone sees your ad or is shown your ad. This, it doesn't matter how often your ad is shown. That's not going to necessarily directly impact your budget. What is going to is impact is if somebody clicks on that ad and shows interest in the ad that way. One of the benefits to advertising that way is that you get immediate measurable results from day one. So the minute that your ads start showing on search engine results pages, that's when you can start seeing how often your ad was shown and of that, how often your ad was clicked on. And then from there, get a percentage, which is called a click-through rate of how many clicks by impressions you have gotten. So from there, you can start figuring out how effective your advertising is. And that actually leads me to the next part is it's the most cost effective than other channels when it's managed well. So pay-per-click does require some management behind it. You can't just set it and forget it. That's going to eat up your budget. So it's going to require some maintenance, but when it's managed well, it can be very cost effective when compared to other advertising options. And then also, you can start and stop your campaigns whenever you want. If you decide, oh, I'm just going to run through March, and then because you'll, be pretty busy by April, then you can stop it there, or you can let it run through April, whatever fits, your situation. Okay, so if you are interested in a pay-per-click campaign, how to start a pay-per-click campaign is here. So there's a couple of steps that basic steps that you're going to want to implement. And this is literally a step-by-step to getting started. First is create an account in AdWords. The reason we're using AdWords is because that's the platform for Google, and Google has the biggest market share in search. So, naturally you're going to go to that platform. And then you're going to want to create what's called a search campaign within AdWords. There is the option to choose either a search or a display campaign, but you're going to want the search campaign. That's where you create ads to show in search engine results pages. Then you're going to want to set a budget, and I'm not going to walk through the mechanics of setting a budget here, but I have provided a detailed instruction blog post to help you create that budget. Typically, what we advise our clients is to start off with $400 if you don't know exactly where to start. Just start with $400 a month and then go from there. But if you want to spend the time to really set a budget, then you can go and then follow these instructions that are provided here. Then you're going to want to choose keywords that reflect the type of person that you want to target, right? If you're just looking for tax preparation in general, you can include the keyword tax preparation and then whatever geographical location you are located in or want to target. And then finally, you're going to want to create advertising content. There are a few guidelines that you are available as you're creating on the advertisements within the dashboard. But typically you'll want to include keywords that you're targeting within the ad copy. So if I was creating ad copy for tax preparation in Los Angeles, I would include that in the actual advertisement. And then you're going to want to create landing pages. So landing pages are web pages that are used specifically for advertising. So, a lot of accountants, I've seen a lot of our clients when they set up their pay-per-click campaign, they're just kind of doing it on their own, they'll typically point to a page on the site, which is okay, but you have a better chance of actually getting people to submit a request to contact you on your website if you create a page specifically for your advertising purposes. And then the next is a little bit technical, and if you're a CPA Site Solutions member, you can probably ask for a little bit of help from webmasters. but you're going to want to insert a conversion pixel onto a thank you page that precedes a form submission from the landing page. So what that does is Google AdWords will give you that code of that snippet of code, and then you just drop it into the code of a thank you page. And that helps AdWords understand whether or not you're getting people to convert from your advertisements. It's very important to do. If you don't do it, it's going to be very difficult for you to understand whether or not pay-per-click is working for you. So do not skip that step. Okay. So I want to go into a little bit more detail about the snack pack. So one of the questions is, how can you get better rankings on search engines outside of PPC? And that's going to be through organic. And in the short term, that's going to apply to the Google Snack Pack. So this is how you actually, ensure that you actually show up there. So depending on the competition, if you verify your business listings on Google My Business or Bing Places, which basically means that you are claiming ownership of that business, you're letting Google know that yes, this is you are that business, you represent that business, then that's one thing they'll look into when deciding whether to show you in Google Snack Pack. The next thing is to remove any duplicate listings in top directories and especially in Google My Business. So what that means is sometimes on Google Maps, you'll have two listings or two results for your office or for your firm, right? So what you want to do is remove one of those and only have one listing. The reason why that's important is because if there are more than one, Google's going to get confused and they won't know which one to choose, and then you're less likely to show in the snack pack. Then once you actually verify your listing, you'll be able to edit the information that's on there. And once you have that capability, you'll want to ensure consistent name, address, and phone number in all major directories and on your website. So I'm actually going to show you guys what that should look like. So let's see, let's go to this guy right here. So Singer Tax and Accounting, they're in Phoenix. Okay, and phone number, and they probably have an address. So we're going to go to their website. Let's see, 602-8006. That's the same phone number that appears there. See, that's consistent with the website and the information on Google Maps. That's what you're looking for. So the name is the same, Singer Tax and Accounting, Singer Tax and Accounting. Phone number is the same, and then address. Okay, this is there we go. Address is right here. So they should have the address on their site. Yep, right there. All right, that's what we're talking about when we say consistent NAP info. And you're going to want to make sure that that's consistent everywhere, not just Google, but like more prioritize Google, but also make sure it's the same on Yelp and on Yellow Pages and Monta. And I'll actually give you a list of all the directories that you should prioritize. Let's see, how do you change your address with Google? So we have a question that says, how do you change your address with Google? They've had the wrong address for me for the last 7 years. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you have access to that listing. If you don't, you're going to want to follow steps to verify your listing on Google. So let's see. One way you could do that is if you go to gybo.com, this is the easiest way to do it. Whoops. Get your business online. Okay, and then you're going to want to go to business listing, view my listing, and enter your business there. So once you enter your business here, it'll give you the option of what the listing is, and it'll tell you whether or not it is verified. If you have a Gmail address, then just log into your account, then go to this website, and then follow the steps that you are provided on gybo.com to verify your listing. From there, you can go in yourself and edit the address and phone number and name. So that's the easiest way. The next way, which is less direct and is going to take a little bit more time, is just to suggest an edit change on the actual maps listing. So let's see, suggest an edit is here. Then you would just suggest any updates to here. That's going to take a little longer because people actually have to go through and accept the changes, but hopefully eventually it'll get there. Okay. All right, and see, we have another question. It says, does anyone still use Yellow Pages? No, not necessarily. I do think that Yelp and Google is more popular. That's why I'm saying prioritize those. But Yellow Pages are actually pretty important, or their directories is actually pretty important in terms of SEO. So it's important because your name, address, and phone number is on Yellow Pages, and search engines will triangulate that information with Google My Business and your website to make sure that you are who you say you are, right? Think of it as like an ID, right? So if your ID has a consistent like name in all different places, like your Facebook profile has the same name, your Twitter has the same name, and then, you know, a portfolio online has the same name, then people know who you are and they know that belongs to you. So it's kind of the same thing with SEO. Crawlers look at all these different locations to ensure they know who you are. Okay. And then one more thing before we move on. You guys are asking a lot of great questions about SEO. What I'm giving you right now is just what you can do in the short run right now for tax season to kind of help your search visibility. But if you are thinking about search engine optimization, I would highly recommend that you look into it a little deeper immediately after tax season is over, after April 15th and you get back from your vacation. So, because search engine optimization does take a while for it to take full effect. So right now is not necessarily the time to start a new SEO campaign, but definitely start after you guys are done and back. Okay, so the next question would be is should you run pay-per-click ads in addition to SEO strategies? So that really is up to you, depending on how aggressive you want to be with your marketing, right? So some things to consider is, well, how well is your website ranking on search results? A common strategy that is used with these two channels is that you use pay-per-click in the short term while your search engine optimization takes effect. So for tax season, if you need more visibility from search engines in the short run through April, you know, run a pay-per-click campaign, and at the end of April, evaluate your pay-per-click campaign, start SEO, and then with the understanding that pay-per-click will eventually end and you'll get all of your visibility from search engine, from organic traffic. So that's just a one, you know, strategy that you could use. The other thing you could do is you could use pay-per-click and SEO to completely dominate search engine results and beat out the competition. That's something else you could do. You just have to look at the two channels together to make sure that they are working together. If you do have any more questions, we have provided a couple of white papers for you, local search and how it's affecting your firm. This explains everything about SEO, and you know, it'll give you the same advice regarding business listings that I just gave you, and it may go into a little bit more detail, but after tax season, I would say definitely digest this one. I wouldn't prioritize it now. If you are looking to do pay-per-click, then I would suggest that you kind of look over the Accountant's Guide to Getting More Profitable Clients with Google AdWords. That's going to be your friend in terms of pay-per-click. All right, so let's talk about reviews. Okay, so how can you collect positive client reviews, and why did we focus on reviews? So the answer is that 80% of people trust online reviews as much as a personal recommendation, and that includes people that are looking for an accountant at this time of year. Plus, working with clients during tax season is a perfect opportunity to ask them to leave a review. Chances are that, your clients that you're working with, you're not going to hear from until next year. So if you need to collect reviews, now is the time to ask for them. There's a couple of different ways that you could ask for them. One is to utilize your free CPA Site Solutions reputation marketing tool. What this tool does, and it's already there for you if you're a CPA Site Solutions member, it helps you collect reviews onto your website, and it asks the person that is leaving a review if they wouldn't mind leaving the review on Google and Yelp as well. So, use this tool to leverage any sort of positive feedback that you're getting from clients. And then another way you could do that is to ask via email or after an appointment in person. So, if you have a list of people that you've had your appointment and they're closed out, they're ready to go, then ask them for a review after the fact. And then even after an appointment, if you have staff, what some people do is, as they're leaving, and if you have an office, you can have them ask how their appointment went and, ask them if they wouldn't mind leaving a review. If you're more on the virtual, if you work out of more of like a virtual network, and you don't have a brick and mortar office, then email is probably the best option for you. We have included some reading here. It says how to get more online reviews from clients. It goes into a little bit more detail with some of the suggestions provided now. Okay, let's see. Okay, so next question, how do you respond to reviews? So chances are right now you're getting a lot of activity in terms of reviews at the moment. You probably need a little bit of help responding to reviews. The important thing is to respond to all reviews regardless of rating. If it's a negative review or a positive review, best practice is to respond. Whenever you're responding to reviews, especially if it's a negative one, highlight firm values. Take it offline whenever possible. Just be very polite in your response and ask that they follow up with you, or ask if you can follow up with them either through a phone call or through email. Remember to always remain polite, especially when dealing with someone who's had a negative experience. And then also, uh, we suggest that you read how accountants should respond to online reviews for more detail, and if this is something that you actually want to focus on. But in general, these are some of the best practices that you could use. All right, so that leads me to what to do when you see a bad review. The question is, what should I do when I see a bad review? All right, so we have this little flow chart from Yelp, and when you get a critical review, you have a few different options depending on the situation. If it's a legitimate concern, then you can respond publicly. If it feels like a rant, which happens, or it's false, you can respond publicly or privately. I would just use your best judgment on that one. If it's just a rant, I would kind of just I'd let it sit for a couple, for 24 hours, let the person cool off, and then respond politely. And then if there's a simple misunderstanding, respond publicly, and then state your business policy and clarify any inaccuracies. In all of these, we do recommend to go the extra mile if you have the time, which is probably not the case right now, but try to reach out to the person directly, so that you can figure it out with them and without having a public conversation that other people could read. All right, so next question is, can you remove a review from someone who posted about you on Yelp or Google? The answer is maybe. So really the only way you can get a review taken down is if the review violates the property's guidelines on reviews. And these guidelines are actually provided here. So, if someone leaves a rant and they start ranting about office staff and they drop names and they're just, a lot of profanity in there, it's an extreme example, but it happens. You actually can flag the review. And if you cite one of the guidelines in here, I've actually had a little bit of success by taking the review, citing which guideline I believe it violates, and then reporting it. And I've actually had a little bit more luck with Yelp, where they'll actually just take the review down. So that's an option that you have. Google kind of sits on it a little bit, but it's still worth a shot. All right, so the next question is, what review websites should my firm be on? So I've provided a list. Think of this list as not only places where you could collect reviews, but also directories that you should be claiming and verifying with your name, address, and phone number to help you improve your chances of appearing in the Google Snack Pack. Okay, so what I'm saying here is by claiming and verifying these, you can potentially improve your visibility to your website. Okay, it's a process, but it can help. So these are the top directories that Moz, which is an industry thought leader in SEO, recommends that accountants verify. Okay, let's do a few questions. Let's see. Okay, it looks like we've kind of gone through all of it. Let's see. Okay, so some recommended blog articles for you guys is how accountants should respond to online reviews, and then reputation marketing. This is a tutorial on helping you use your reputation marketing tool on your website. It shows you how to start it up and how to use it to help you leverage that tool. If nothing else, if you take nothing else away from it, at least implement this free tool. It's already at your guys' disposal. Okay, so let's talk about social media. Okay, so the question is, why should I focus on social media and which social networks should my firm be on? Okay, so why focus on social media? Admittedly, social media is kind of the long game, right? So if you guys haven't noticed it, I've prioritized this presentation by kind of the quick and dirty marketing options to, less quick, but a little bit more affordable, right? So social media, since it is the long game, it's going to require a little bit more lift on your end and not as much budget. But the reason why it's important to use during tax season, it's because that social media is how people ask for referrals during tax season. I've seen it plenty of times on my own personal social media feeds during this time. A lot of my friends just, we don't know what we're doing. We're a bunch of millennials that don't know what we're doing. So we ask for, hey, who's your accountant? Hey, can you refer me to an accountant? Or like, my taxes are crazy this year. Help, and then what happens is people will comment on the newsfeed, right? And they can actually tag their accountant, their accountant's Facebook page on the comment thread. So what ends up happening is that you now have a warm lead. You now have a potential client that you can reach out to, or they'll probably reach out to you, and you have new business and referrals. The reason why this is important is because whenever there are referrals, especially on Facebook, it shows your rating. It actually shows your review rating and your how many stars you have out of 5 on your Facebook page. Kind of goes back to collecting reviews. So what that person is potentially going to do is they're going to look at who has the highest rating, who has a filled out profile, who looks like they're actually alive on Facebook, and choose that accountant. So if nothing else, the profiles that you need to be on are the social media platforms that you need to be on are probably going to be Facebook. That's probably the most robust for small businesses. And not only is it going to help you potentially get more clients through referrals, but it can showcase client reviews and help you collect more reviews. Twitter, because it's more real-time conversation, that's not necessarily going to result in clients right away, but it can help. And then LinkedIn is used more for professional networks. So this is more, I would recommend this more after tax season and would prioritize Facebook over Twitter and LinkedIn. Okay, let me check in on some questions. Okay. Looks like we've caught up with all the questions for now. Okay, so how can you get more followers on social media, and how do I get people to find me on social media? There's a few different ways that you could do this. You could advertise and boost posts. You don't have to spend too much time on it or too much money on it. You could just boost posts, especially initially, to get some visibility on it. It's a little harder to get started if you haven't touched your Facebook page in a while. You can add your icons to your website, post at consistent days and times during the week. One way that you could definitely do this and save some time during tax season is by scheduling out your posts ahead of time. So if you have, let's say, a couple of hours this weekend, find a few posts, schedule them out through April, and then you can pretty much just let it run, and just keep an eye on it to see if anybody's making any comments or engaging with you. But the bulk of the work is done up front. That'll save you some time in the long run. The other way you could do it is send an email to your client base, post valuable and educational content. So that goes back to scheduling some content. And then one of the biggest ways is by using a visual post. So images, video, anything like that. Those are going to get more visibility than just your plain text posts. Okay. All right. So what are the best things to post about on social media? Well, that depends, but some of topics that you could include are news about the industry. There's a lot of news going on right now, so any tips you guys have, even just to get your people's paperwork together, that's something you could post about. That includes tips and advice, funny cartoons or images that are tasteful. We've had a client that did something really cute. He would post about his labradoodles, each day in the office, just kind of hanging out, and he would post content in the voice of the dogs, that's just like helping around the office. And it was really cute. He got a lot of engagement and a lot of visibility, and it was just something to, not everything has to be very, uh, has to be about accounting all the time. It can be a little bit more fun. Any articles that you have written or found useful, those are good. And then, or speak to any courses or CPE events that you were attending. Some things not to post are controversial opinions, especially right now. It doesn't matter what you say, really, you're not going to win. And then a defensive or angry response to an upset client or review. So goes back to responding to reviews, especially just be polite, take the high road, because other people are going to be reading those reviews as well. And, people can tell when someone is just ranting, and the person ranting can make themselves look bad on their own. You don't necessarily need to reply to that. They can do it on their own. And then anything about politics, especially in this climate, you're just not really going to win. If you need any content ideas, then I'd recommend 30 Great Social Media Ideas for Accountants to help you get started. All right, so one of the questions that I got a lot that I didn't have time to put in is time. We got a lot of questions submitted for this webinar, and a lot of them just said time. I need time, I don't have time. So if you want to save some time, we are here to help. We can help you with pay-per-click. We can help you with social media, search engine optimization. If you need to update your website, any of that, let us know, and we're here to help you. We're a partner in this business with you, so please reach out. Don't hesitate to let us help you. Okay, so there are a few questions that have been going through that I'm going to get to now. Here's a really good one. This is regarding Google My Business, and it's Lalit said, can we add 2 locations on Google and how to do it? You can if you actually have 2 locations. The best way to do this is, oh geez, this is going to be it gets a little crazy once you start adding more than one brick and mortar business on Google. It's the limitations of the platform. And it's a little difficult to deal with, but best practice is to create one listing per address with the same name. And then, ideally, if you have a different phone number for each location, that's ideal. And then make sure that you have the correct address for each location. Then what you're going to want to do, which helps out, is on your website, you're going to want to create a single web page for each location. And then embed that Google map onto that location. So let's say, for example, this page here is one location page, right? This map right here that you see here, that's an embedded map. So you would basically take this here, let's see, where is it? Looking for, there's usually a share button, I'm not seeing it right now. Okay, that's okay. Usually you can share a location like this, and then it'll give you an embed code that you can drop into your web page here. And you can ask your webmaster for help doing that. But by doing this, what you basically are telling Google is, we have 2 locations, and then when somebody searches near one of those addresses, then Google will choose whichever one is closest to them. So that's best practice. It does get a little more complicated and convoluted with multiple locations, but that's what you can do. The other thing too is on the dedicated web page for each location, up here, where you guys see this right here, include the city and state of that location to see it, and that will help Google understand that the 2 locations are real and in different geographical locations. Let's see. Trying to go through. Okay, so it looks like we have a couple of questions around search engine optimization and social media. If you are interested in that, then reach out to your accounting advisor if you're already a member. And I would prioritize social media over search engine optimization right now if is because of tax season. Search engine optimization, like I said, is a slow moving boat. So whatever you do now is probably not going to show results until next year. So if you're limited for time, definitely ask about social media management. Okay, going through, let's see, we have a few more questions. Just want to make sure I covered all of them. Let's see. Okay, see, we had a couple of questions on acquiring new clients. One way that you could do that is, well, first, if you're already ranking and that's not really a concern for you, I would expand with pay-per-click outside of your immediate geographical location, like your city. Because with SEO, since it's hyper localized for accountants, basically your results are for clients are going to look different depending on where they are located in real life. And so with what pay-per-click does and helps you with is it actually expands beyond those limitations from SEO and helps you target cities around you. So if you know of a demographic population in your state or wherever that, you know, would be considered a higher quality client for you, then you can use pay-per-click to target that geographical location and that demographic. Let's see. Clients. More questions on clients. Getting started with social media for the firm. If you want to do it yourself, then I would suggest scheduling out posts. But then also, if you don't have the time to do that, then you can ask us to see where we can help you with that. Let's see. Clients, demographic, asking for referrals. Okay, covered that. Okay. All right, it looks like I've pretty much covered off all of your questions at this point. So, okay. At this point, I just want to thank you guys for joining me. I know that, you know, time is precious right now, so very much appreciated. Like I said, this recording will be sent out to you in the next couple of days. If you want to review something or if you want to review something in the deck, then you'll have that available. For now, thank you so much for joining, and, you know, hope to see you next time.